It's the way other people view Sebastian's life and the fact that he's even alive, accusing us of being selfish and him living a life of suffering. And the truth is, no one really knows, right? Like, no one really knows what Sebastian's thinking and what he's feeling and how he's really doing. We don't really know that. But I will leave you with this. Hello everyone, thanks for clicking on this video. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are not new here, welcome back. Thanks for being here. As you can tell probably by my little sneaky intro there, we are going to get into a lot. People have been following Sebastian's journey, some of them from when he was born, from when he was very little and I first started sharing his story. And then it has grown obviously over time, and with that comes a lot of opinions, a lot of assumptions, misconceptions, and even some medical confusions. Over the years, things change. We've learned things that we didn't know, and then information about his health that we thought was one way ended up being a different way. So there's been a lot of stuff. So I am just going to get into a couple of those things and help you kind of get to know him and understand him a little bit more, and maybe a little bit of what we've been through too with him. So I'm just going to jump right into it. First things first, Sebastian's vision and hearing. Can he see? Can he hear? A lot of people, even now randomly, I'll get comments on my videos and someone will say, I thought he was blind, or I thought he couldn't hear. Where that confusion comes from is when Sebastian was first born, there was so much going on with his health. Our main concern was his heart. He had heart surgery, his first heart surgery, I think it was 14 days old or 11 days old. And then he had another one like a month and a half later. So his vision and his hearing, although it was important, it wasn't our main focus. When we finally got around to getting him some testing for his hearing, at the time, the doctors thought that he had no usable hearing at all in either ear. Same thing with his vision. It's a little bit harder to test like an infant's vision and even a child's vision, because you can get some kind of like brain waves if it's receiving, input, but you're never really gonna know. I mean, really the only way you're indefinitely gonna know if somebody can see or hear is if they're able to tell you, and obviously Sebastian can't do that. So he had extended testing. He got his ears checked, I think even like a year and a half ago, and it turns out Sebastian is completely deaf in his right ear, but he has usable hearing in his left ear. Now, as far as his vision, we are not exactly sure what he can see, but we know that he can see because he tracks us in the room. If we pass him, he watches us, and especially when he's eating his food, he'll watch the spoon like a hawk. He's watching it. He wants to know when his next bite is coming. So he definitely can see. We're not sure how much, but there's definitely vision, and he does have some usable hearing on that left side. I just tried to take a video of him like doing some tracking movements, but he's so obsessed with this little glove. He loves chewing on his fingers, and we put that glove on there to protect his fingers, because he chews them to the point that they start getting little injuries on them. So anytime I try to do anything else with him, he just wants to hang out with that glove. I've got little Zeus hanging out with us for this video too, right? Now, for those of you who don't know, Sebastian does have encephalopathy, which is basically just a big word for brain disease. And the reason why I am mentioning this now when I'm talking about his vision and his hearing is because his vision and hearing problems actually correlate more to his brain disease. So the part of Sebastian's brain that is diseased is his cerebrum. The cerebrum is responsible for the higher functions of quality of life, like movement and speech and interpreting touch and sound. So it's not necessarily that he can't see or hear directly. It's more so that his brain, and that diseased part of his brain, doesn't know how to interpret that input. It doesn't know what to do with the sound. It doesn't know what to do with the vision entirely. And just because he can't interpret picture and sound doesn't mean that his brain isn't usable to him, because the cerebrum is only one part of your brain. You have multiple parts of your brain. Do you know what part of Sebastian's brain is very healthy and probably beautiful, if I had to guess? His amygdala. The amygdala is in the back of the head. It's responsible in a nutshell, it's responsible for emotion. And I know that Sebastian's amygdala is beautiful because he laughs when he's happy, and he cries when he's sad, and he yells when he's mad. So this kid's amygdala is chef's kiss. I would say you have a pretty good amygdala, don't you think? Do you think it's good? Where are you going? Mom, I don't want to talk to you right now. Get over here. He's just enjoying the day out here. This guy's just sleeping away. Right, Zeus? Zeus? You didn't hear me? You didn't hear me? The next big misconception that I think everyone is afraid to ask or address, or they just assume, is that Sebastian is going to pass early on in life because of his syndrome, and that is not true. CDLS doesn't have a direct life expectancy attached to it. Like, you don't get the diagnosis and then have like X amount of years until you're going to succumb to it. It doesn't work like that with CDLS. The correlation of young children with Sebastian's syndrome passing away early is more so related to the fact that children with CDLS are a little bit more medically fragile. So even like the common cold, sometimes their bodies are just not strong enough to fight off, and they end up passing early from other health issues that their bodies aren't able to basically fight off. But just in like direct correlation, CDLS doesn't have a life expectancy attached to it. With that being said, CDLS obviously affects a lot of parts of Sebastian's life. He's limited in many ways. When we first brought him home, I was sad. I grieved for him, just knowing he's gonna have a feeding tube and he's gonna be on oxygen for a while. And I thought, and a lot of people made, that comment to us too, like, so what kind of quality of life is your kid gonna have, basically having to eat through a tube and breathe, with the help of an oxygen tank? And Sebastian has not been on oxygen for 3 years, and he loves to eat food by mouth. Just yesterday, and I'll post a picture of it, but just yesterday, I made him beans with tortillas, and I cooked the beans, and I put the tortillas in there, and I heated it up, and I blended it in a blender, and he ate 4 ounces of that by mouth. So it does hold him back in many ways, but he also is like totally fine. He's just content being here with us. And I know some people, the haters, there's not many of you on here, but there's a few. I know some people are going to say, well, how do you know that he's content? Does he not look content to you? We're just hanging out, right? The neighbor's got a new puppy, so Zeus is trying to figure them out. CDLS is a rare genetic disease. And what I mean by that is, like, scientifically, if you were to Google Cornelia de Lange syndrome, you will see that it is a freak genetic mutation. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because a lot of people think, we have this sick child. What if we have more kids? Are they also going to be affected? And they are not, because CDLS is a freak genetic mutation. So what that means is, it's not like I carry a certain gene and Gio carries a certain gene, and then when they cross, it causes this mutation. That is not it. It is just a freak mutation that happened. So why do I bring up all these things? Why am I addressing what other people assume or have been misinformed about my child? And the reason is because of this last misconception, the biggest misconception. It's the way other people view Sebastian's life, and the fact that he's even alive, accusing us of being selfish and him living a life of suffering. And the truth is, no one really knows. Right? Like, no one really knows what Sebastian's thinking and what he's feeling and how he's really doing. We don't really know that. But I will leave you with this. What I know as his mom and Gio as his dad is that we know our son in his lifetime, however long that will be, will indefinitely have known love. And that may very well be the only thing that he knows is love. And although some people still may think and see that as a burden, how can anyone else not truly, genuinely see that as a gift? Like, as a parent, what more in this lifetime could you want than for your child to experience and know love? So yes, of course, his syndrome comes with a lot of hardships, but I know in my heart that Sebastian knows love, and that is enough for us as his parents. It's enough. I thank you for being here today, for wanting to know more about Sebastian. I know this video wasn't full of a ton of Sebastian content. It was all me. You got me today in this video, but you know, I'm his advocate, I'm his voice, and I want you guys to know a little bit more about the child you have all fallen in love with and have been so kind to. So that's a little bit of his history. There's a lot more to it. Maybe we'll get into it. If you have questions, drop them down below. But I think I'm gonna cut it there for now. Spend some time with him, maybe push him on the swing. So thank you for being here. Say thanks for being here. Look, you got your arm out of that strap.